Hey, welcome to the show. It's Les Solgrove. This is Simply Des Moines Market Values for week 18. Can you believe it? We're 18 weeks into the year so far. It is Sunday, May 4th. We are going to talk this week a little bit about the end of April reports and kind of some of the stats we've seen. And by all indications, it's been a good month for listings. So let's jump right in and see what's going on in Des Moines and Central Iowa real estate. Okay, here we go. April brings a burst of listings. That's the headline. That is really the big story for the month of April. We're going to kind of take a look at some of those stats and things. But first, I've got some special news this week. I have my first official endorsement. I got a text message and from this young man, and he and his I think it's his mother that's recording this, is a huge fan of Simply Des Moines Market Values, and she sent me a little testimonial or a little endorsement here. So let's see what it sounds like.
It's not on right now. Who's my favorite YouTuber though?
Russell Grove.
Who?
Russell Grove.
How cool is that, huh? Hey, this is from Jet. Thank you, Jet. And as a special thank you for being my first official endorsement, I've got some nerd glasses I'm going to get to you. So hang loose there for this sometime this week, and I'll try to get these nerd glasses out to you this week here. But thanks again for being my my endorser, my official endorser. So, all right, so let's jump into the show this week. It's the dashboard is showing some good movement here. I do have the subscriber count over here on the left-hand side updated. We have 889 subscribers. Let's try to push that to 1,000. I only need 110 more, 111 more subscribers. That should not be hard to do. Please hit that subscribe button. Be sure and hover over this QR code if you're watching this online, and you'll be taken to the YouTube channel. So please help me do that. It helps me get the channel out to other sources and helps increase the message I'm sending out here. So we're going to talk a little bit more in depth in the middle of the show about the active inventory here. So I'm not really going to focus on that right now. We did have almost 400 new listings come on the market this past week, and that's 10% more year over year. Pending sales are also up by 13.5% at 252 for this week. That's also really, really a good number. Closed sales were down just a little bit, but I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that the end of the month kind of has fallen over the weekend here. So I think it was like last Thursday or Friday was the first of the month. So I really expect that number to pick right back up here the first of the week when we get all of the closed sales. It usually takes 5 or 6 days for the end of month closed sales to come on. So I'm not too concerned with a negative 4.9% decrease in closed sales so far this year. I think that's going to come right back to us here. As always, you've got the days on market by the color-coded tags there, and we've also got months of inventory down here as well tagged. So, what we're seeing is basically everything from existing home sales and then overall is in the seller's market, and anything above that is kind of in the buyer's market right now. Actually, the new construction has kind of settled into a balanced market, which is a good thing coming into the spring market. Open house counts this past weekend were down just a little bit from the weekend before. Currently 1,322 homes are being held open this weekend. Predominantly 3 times of that or 2/3 of that is the new construction properties, 938. And we're also going to talk a little bit about price increases and decreases here at depth in the show here as well. The last thing on the dashboard we'll kind of focus on is I do have the mortgage rate ticker lined up here going through the month of May now. And what I really want you to focus on right here, and we'll talk about mortgage rates another time, but look what happened last year from May until October. We saw mortgage interest rates steadily on the the decline there, downturn there to almost 6% last year, the federal 30-year fixed rate mortgage average. We're currently sitting at 6.76%, so I'm hoping that when we see that we're right over here now at 6.76% compared to 7.25% where we were at this time a year ago, that we will see, hopefully, if we see this same type of a decrease as we move into the fall through the summer markets in the fall months, that we will see rates potentially drop below that 6%. And I think that's maybe a little optimistic, but we're certainly hoping for that. We will be hitting the 4,000 closed sales here probably sometime this coming week, and that's right on pace with last year. So, all right, let's jump into the show. End of April here. This is the big story, and this is what stood out to me the most here. If you look at this graphic right here, you can see that January we started out with an increase in listings over the previous month, or I'm sorry, over the previous year. We had 939 new homes on the market in January. We had a couple of several weeks there of bad weather, which probably slowed some of this down. But March we were right back on track with last year, and now this year, what you can tell is that we're up almost 400 listings over the same time last year at this point, and that's at the highest that we've seen in a month period, all compared to 2024, because the most we saw in 2024 was around just under 1,200 homes on the market. So I think that what we're going to probably see is this graphic here probably increase. It's right now it's limited to 1,400, so it might look just a little bit different next week when we come back. If we do hit into that 1,400 mark, it'll adjust down a little bit so that it shows the entire graphic. But I am certainly in the thoughts that and predictions that we're going to continue to see increases in homes coming on the market and newly listed properties. And to kind of give you why I feel this way is I want to look back at the inventory levels going all the way back to 2009. And what you can see here is that look at the most homes we had on the market back in 2009 through 2011. We were knocking on the door of 6,000 homes for sale, and for a long time that felt like a number we couldn't achieve again for some time, especially when we look at the period from 2012 all the way down in through COVID, and then down into the COVID years there, where we were under 2,000 listings there for a couple of years for a lot of the time. But what we're going to do is we're going to focus on this area right over here to the right. I'm going to take this section out of this graphic. So we're going to compress this on this next slide, and you can kind of see now we're looking at the height of the market from 2009 through 2012, and then just prior to COVID in 2019. And you can kind of see what was happening in 2019 through 2020. Our inventory was starting to grow, and right here is where COVID hit. And that little bump right there is like a scar. I don't know if that's the right word, but anyway, that's the point where COVID hit, and then inventory went down. What I really want you to look at right here is the trends we typically see every spring. So 2022 to 2023, we saw a large growth period. 23 to 24, it was a little less. 24 to 25, we saw, again, this same kind of a growth period. And if we simply take this growth period right here and we apply that same period of growth, and we're going to take the bottom of this red line and move it right over to here, just to kind of get an idea, where could we end up if we stay on the same pace as 2024? And honestly, I think we're at a faster pace, but let's just say we stay at the same pace of 2024. You can see where we could potentially end the peak of our year, which is usually sometime around October, late November, late October, early November. And so with that in mind, we could potentially, by the end of October, be close to 4,800 homes on the market before we see our traditional tail off here, November and December. So that's something to kind of look forward to. I think what will happen is the more listings we get, it's going to spur more buyers to come into the market, and we're going to see greater increase in activity, and that's only going to be increased by if interest rates come down even more throughout this year. I think we'll just kind of tend to see this year be a very, very good year if all of these little stars align, and that's the big if there. So, but we certainly have the stage set, and there is the potential out there. So anyway, that's just kind of the prediction I have for homes coming on the market. And I said earlier, we're going to focus a little bit about the inventory out of the dashboard. And so what I've done was I've moved this out, and of course we've got the color codes up here. Purple is all homes, blue is existing, orange is existing condo townhomes, new construction homes are the green, and then the gold or yellow is the new construction condo townhomes. And currently with 3,756 homes on the market, that's a 21% increase over last year. And just to give you an idea what the numbers were last year, I'm going to go ahead and overlay these now in parentheses or in brackets here. 3,109 is where we were sitting a year ago at this time with homes on the market. So we have 600 and some homes on the market now that we didn't have last year, and that's really, really good for our starting inventory. The bulk of this inventory increase is coming from existing home sale listings as well as existing condo townhomes. So you can see 1421 is where we were a year ago on the existing resale single family homes, and 235 is where we're sitting on the existing condo townhomes. And those are starting to make a pretty good comeback this year. I think a lot of the people that bought the condo townhomes during the COVID years that maybe were thinking that was all that was available, and frankly it was, that was kind of the only category where we had probably the most inventory and it was selling the fastest. My thought and my assumption is that a lot of these people now are going, okay, we've lived through the COVID years. It's time now to go ahead and buy a house, a single family home, instead of staying in this condo. And so that's why I think we're seeing this increase of condo townhomes now at 409. We were only at 1,069 new construction homes last year. It's still it's a decrease year over year, while we're currently now at 973. So we really have fewer homes than what we had last year at this time. And then 384 on the condo townhomes on the new construction side. We are at an increase, but only a 5% increase. And I think that's a healthy number based on what sales we're doing last year in the condo townhome new construction side there. So is there room for more new construction? Likely, yes, I would say so. It's the time of year when many buyers are looking at and considering new construction. And so I think a lot of builders maybe we'll see that inventory kind of start to pick up a little bit as we move throughout the next 30 to 45 days. So, okay, what does this mean for price increases and price reductions? Well, the purple down there across the bottom shows, you know what, we're not seeing a lot of price increases, although we saw a few in April. I don't have the year over year ticker to show you whether they're ahead or behind, but they're pretty much right on track with where we were last year. However, the price reductions are continuing. We are continuing to see this little dash line is where the price reductions were last year each month and where they currently are this year. So we're seeing some pretty good reductions and numbers of reductions in prices all the way through the first 4 months of this year. And you've heard me talk at the year end, and we've talked about these in special shows about pricing your home right, and when you have to reduce the property, that you're really taking more off of the property than you really may think, and are actually accepting less than what you really got based on the fact that the home wasn't priced properly to begin with, or maybe it was let's give a price a try, or test the market. You really can't afford to do that in this market in particular. So we're seeing a lot of price reductions so far this year. 1,703. That's not as many as we saw last year in the single month. That was October, but I think we outpaced September of last year, and those are basically when mortgage rates started to jump back up. So you can imagine here mortgage rates are somewhat stable this year versus last year, when they came down for the most part of the year and then started to go back up in the last couple of months there. So I think what we'll see is a continuation of price reductions in May and June, and very possibly, I don't know if we'll hit 2,000 in a month, but that would be a huge number, to see 2,000 price reductions when we're only holding an inventory level of just under 4,000. So that would be almost 50% of the properties out there. So, moving forward, there we go. Pricing, just kind of touch on this just briefly here. What I like this graphic because it tells a lot of information in a simpler graphic. What you see across the top is the median list price from January through April. And what you see is the typical rise up as we move forward. I don't have the ticker showing you where we were last year, but I can tell you that at 359,990 for the last 2 months, we are stable. We're seeing stable list prices. We're not seeing the rise in pricing, and it's also lower than where we were a year ago at this time. So that means that homes are, the median price is half the homes are above that 360 or 359,990, and half the homes for sale are under that. That gives home buyers a little more confidence that maybe they have some more buying power, especially as we see rates, leveling off and potentially coming down. The price at pending is also stabilizing a little bit. It's the last couple of months, it's again stayed really, really close within $10 of the median price, 314,990. So we're seeing 2 months of stability, both in where homes are going under contract at, not necessarily where they're closing, but where they're going under contract at. And then the median sale price is not seeing near the jump that we saw last year. We are seeing increases because a lot of this is now new construction coming into play from the late fall and early spring market, that some of the homes were ready to go. And so once we get that new construction home sales into these pricing, this is where you'll see that kind of jump. But again, under $300,000 is the median sale price. That's a pretty good number for us, considering that it wasn't that long ago our median sale price was under 200. So 298, that's a number that I think a lot of us are feeling pretty comfortable with. As far as the breakdown by price point here for the month of April, again, we see the $300,000 to $400,000 price point is the leader with the number of homes for sale. That's that crossover point between new construction and resale. And as far as the number of homes under contract or going into sale pending, the $200,000 to $300,000 price point is king there at 459. That just tells us that home buyers are still trying to buy under that pricing, and that makes sense when we see the median pending price where we saw it here in that previous graphic. The second largest number of homes currently on the market right now is that $200,000 to $300,000 price point, and surprisingly, $400,000 to $500,000 comes in third place. Usually it's that $100,000 to $200,000 price point. So we're starting to see some increase of listing inventory in the upper price points, which is a good sign there. That means that some of the move-up buyers are now coming in and starting to make that upper price point start to move as well. So when lower price point buyers move and buy, they have to go somewhere, and then home sellers in those upper price points are seeing that activity and seeing the home sales a little bit more at a faster pace in their price points, and that gives them the confidence to go out and also start to put their homes on the market. The rest of the categories down here are pretty typical for the upper price points. Not a lot of huge numbers, although we have 117 homes right now over $1 million. It wasn't that long ago that anything over $1 million in our market was pretty much a very, very limited choices for those buyers. And now with 117, that's a pretty good number there. So pending units, again, here looking at the pending sales. Now this does not follow the same path that we saw with the number of homes coming on the market. We're pretty much, for the month of April, right on track with where we were last year. Keep in mind, pending sales is an indication of future activity, both in the closed and potentially in the listing side, because the more pendings we have, it again inspires home buyers or homeowners on the market there. If they see more homes going under contract, it gives them the confidence to come into the marketplace. So at 1361, we're pretty close to where we were last year. I expect to see this number continue to rise instead of fall like we saw in May, June. So we'll probably be above on track for May and June as we move forward. And just depending on how strong the market gets, I think this is the trend we're going to see is up. It may start to dip a little bit, but I think we're going to spend at least the next 2 or 3 months at a pace faster than 2024. As far as the months of inventory by price point, again, the yellow indicates that it's a seller's market with less than 4 months of inventory. The one shining star in that category outside of the under $600,000 price points all the way down is that 900,000 to $1 million. We're starting to see some good movement there as well. So we've seen homes kind of go into contract more at a faster pace. Also, this $600,000 to $700,000 price point last month was in the balanced market. Now this month, at that point, now it's in the buyer's market. So that just tells us that we're starting to edge down the way. The fact that it's kind of slowed down just says that that's kind of the part of the market where buyers are hesitating at right now. 600 to 700. Again, that 700 to 900 is still in the balanced market, but barely at 5.9 and 5.5. So these are the categories and the prices. If you're working in those price points with listings, you want to be very, very careful and get those priced right, because we're very, very close to being into a buyer's market in those categories. So the closed homes per month, again, we are pretty close. In fact, we're just slightly ahead of last year, year to date. But you can see that we had a couple of months where we were just behind last year. The month of March, we increased, and now this month we're just right at the same closed sale pace at the end of April. We're going to see this number jump here in May and June and July, just because this is the time of year when the bulk of the home sales are occurring there. So right on track. This is going to put us probably on track to close somewhere around that 13,200. Again, depending on if the market catches on fire in a good way, I think that it's very possible that we could bust through that 13,500 mark. I think 14,000 is probably a number that we may not be able to reach closed sales this year, but any number above this 13,226 is a win in my book. So we're currently sitting at 3806 as of today, which is May 4th, not necessarily at the end of the month, but it's close enough there, 3806. And, we've got 8 more months, 2/3 of the year left to increase that. So anyway, that is the show. It's been a very, very interesting month of April. I certainly hope that May continues with this pace at a little bit faster pace as well. And I thank you again for watching this week. Jet, again, thank you so much, my friend, for being my endorser. And a pair of nerd glasses are coming your way. So with that, guys, we'll see you all again next week. Be safe, and we'll talk to you all again here in 7 more days.